everybody, my name is Seruya.
And I'm Linda.
And we like to give unsolicited opinions because we can.
Last week, Wanja Kavengi posted something on Facebook that got our attention. And I'll just read it. Where she said, "I have never established a connection with my son. I was depressed throughout his pregnancy. I didn't want him. I was depressed after his birth. I didn't want him. I was depressed while raising him. I didn't want him. He felt like a bother, like a burden, like an unwanted guest in my house, a painful thorn under my soul. I wasn't able to love him like a parent would a child. I created emotional distance between us and never offered him compassion and warmth. I shouted at him all the time. I refused to understand him. I was cold. I neglected him and never prioritized him. He was an afterthought. By the way, I didn't play with him. I didn't laugh with him. I didn't eat with him. I didn't watch or listen to anything with him. I didn't go anywhere with him. I didn't spend time with him. I didn't empathize with him. I was a stone-faced bitch to him."
Okay, that is a very sad story. And the saddest reality is the fact that this happens to many women out here. And many are afraid to come forward because they're afraid of the judgment that comes after this. After opening up to people, people will first judge you very harshly and call you inhuman, call you an abuser. Yes, to some extent the child is being abused, but it is also not intentional. You get?
Yeah, which was it was the reaction of people on social media. That was the first reaction of people. They'd be like, "Oh, this is an abuser. She needs to pay for whatever she's done." But you see, there's also things that brought her to that point.
Exactly.
People don't just intentionally hate their kids.
And then there's so much pressure. There's like a lot of judgment. Like this one person actually even said she clearly knew that she was depressed during her pregnancy. Then
Why didn't she just go ahead and abort it?
And mind you, if she had gone ahead to abort it, they would still have judged her for aborting. So what do you want her to do?
By the way, this was actually a man talking, and I feel like for men, it's a bit, they're talking from a privileged point of view. They wouldn't really understand what women go through with such issues. There's the whole abortion issue. You don't just go about aborting kids the way you feel like.
Exactly.
There's also issues that come with, say, before conceiving. There's the contraception issue. So everyone knows that contraceptives have some side effects, especially on women. Sometimes they're not even guaranteed. You might still get pregnant.
Yeah.
So basically what this guy was saying was, if she knew she didn't want her kid, why didn't she just go ahead and abort? So obviously people would, usually you have to put yourself in that person's shoes. Like generally, what would someone say when someone wants to abort a kid because they don't want them?
And in Africa, sadly, we are not a continent that is pro-choice, you get? So women should be able to have the sexual liberty on their body. Like we are pressured so much in this not generation per se, in this continent, in this part of the world, to have babies. The society sees women and just sees a baby making machine. When you mention in a crowd of people that you don't want to have kids in future, they'll be like, "Oh my God, how do you not want kids?" But if you get them, you'll just love them. They're your own, you love them. And then this happens.
Yeah.
And then when this happens, they start judging you. They tell you should have aborted before you got this child. So,
no, they don't even. In fact, they're very much against abortion.
Yeah.
And when you maybe think of aborting a kid because you don't want them, they'll be like, maybe it's just you're depressed at the moment. It'll go away. Like even after you've had the kid and you're still depressed and you maybe still don't want this kid, they'll tell you it's postpartum depression and stuff like that. So before you actually come to make a firm choice like that, it's really not easy. So The fact that people are out here pointing fingers, I don't know.
And sometimes you genuinely
harsh judgment.
just don't want kids.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing about postpartum depression, I will read for you some of the symptoms that are with this. The first one is depressed mood or severe mood swings. There's excessive crying. There's difficulty bonding with your baby. There's withdrawing from family and friends. There's the loss of appetite or eating much more than usual. There's the inability to sleep or sleeping too much. There's overwhelming fatigue or loss of energy. There is reduced interest and pleasure in activities you used to enjoy. There is intense irritability and anger. There is fear that you're not a good mother. There is hopelessness. There's feeling of worthlessness, shame, guilt, inadequacy. There is diminished ability to think clearly, concentrate, or make decisions. There is restlessness. There is severe anxiety and panic attacks. There's thought of harming yourself or your baby. And there's the recurrent thoughts of death or suicide. So you see, this woman is actually struggling. So when you come out of nowhere as a man without a uterus, you're trying to blame this woman for feeling what she's feeling. My friend, please just take a back seat. This one, just sit this one out kindly. Because you don't know what she's feeling. Before she came forward to say this, she has battled with a lot. Can you imagine? People all around you are telling you that when you give birth, you will love this baby. You have to love this baby. It is a mother's duty to love a baby. You get. But then when yours comes, you don't love him. You don't feel that bond, and you feel like you're an outcast. You feel abnormal. You feel like you're less of a human being. You're less of a mother. It is draining to the mind.
Yeah, and family and society are not really accepting of such situations. They really don't see how things like those can happen, like how you can not love your kid the way you should. I don't know, it just really doesn't occur.
It doesn't occur to them that it's possible.
Yeah.
Like when one gives birth and then the people start coming to visit, you see they're not even giving much attention to the mother. It's all about the baby. Like, how is the little one? How is he doing? How is he eating? How is he feeding? Is he sleeping well? And no one is bothered to know how you are doing. You carried this human being for 9 months, and nobody is bothered to know how is your mental state. Yeah. How are you doing? Are you sleeping well? Are you eating well? Are you feeling different? They're not bothered. And the minute you come out to say that you feel a bit depressed, judgment.
Everyone is out there calling you an abusive parent, and we're not getting her off the hook for being abusive. True. I mean, she has found herself in that position. Yeah. But you see, from the post, from what we're seeing, the fact that she's come out shows that she probably doesn't want to continue doing the same. Yeah.
She genuinely feels bad, and she genuinely wants help.
Yeah. So anyway, let's talk about men. Giving out their opinions from a privileged standpoint.
You don't have a uterus.
So okay, let's start with how men are not even accepting of women that don't want kids in the first place.
Yeah.
Another issue is, like, say maybe as a couple you've chosen to have a certain number of kids and then no more kids after that. Men would never
ever.
Okay, let me not
hardly
say
ever.
But African men hardly ever
never
accept
never
to get a vasectomy.
Never.
The fact that they won't get a vasectomy, they want you to be on contraception the whole time.
Your whole life.
When you have a kid and you want to abort it, that's a whole other issue. So I don't know. I wouldn't really advise men to be out here judging in this case. They really don't know the complications that come with pregnancy, and the postpartum depression being one of them. That's an issue that they never understand. I think for this one, they need to leave it to the women.
They just need to sit this one out.
Yeah, I mean.
And then these contraceptives have very major or minor side effects on women, depending on who you are and how your hormones are. But a man will not listen to you because they have only one thing to do, just snip, 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 and it's done. But no, they don't want to seem like they're less of men.
They feel like
they will put their women under constant What is it even?
Struggle.
Struggle.
That's just pure struggle.
Torture. And okay, we're not saying that men do not experience postpartum depression. Actually, they do. New fathers can experience it. They may feel fatigued and overwhelmed or or anxious. And their sleeping pattern might be disrupted, yeah? They're the same symptoms with the mothers, but obviously, the mothers will have the symptoms being more serious, more severe, because they are the ones who are forced by society to feel a certain way, to want to have kids. Like, a woman is not a woman if she is not a mother. You get that?
Yeah, the society actually measures I think the adequacy of a woman through her ability to reproduce. So there's just a lot going on. And let's face it, in 2020, at least, I like the way these days people admit to things.
True.
Parenting is not for everybody. Basically, parenting is not for everyone. We need to stop forcing this narrative on people. It's about time. I mean, who still wants to have kids when you can have a pet?
You can have a cat.
Yeah. Anyway.
But we're not saying if you want to have kids that it's bad. You do sis, because everyone has that one thing that they want. Yeah? But we should not bash other people for not wanting the same thing that you want. And as a society, we should not be shunning people who know they don't want kids. They acknowledge they don't want kids. They come out and say, nah, they don't want kids. And then you say, you're not even a responsible man. Yeah, that thing when men say, you don't want kids, who will be taking care of the home? Excuse me, am I your caretaker?
A friend of mine told me, once you tell a guy you don't want kids, the only thing they can see you saying is, okay, so you don't want to take care of the home. Mm-hmm. You don't want to stay at home. You don't want to, as they say, kukaliwa chapati.
And which I do not want, so yeah, I don't.
Yep. Let us know your comments down below. Let us know your views.
Let us know if you've struggled with postpartum depression or if you know someone who has, and how did they get through it, if they did, or yeah, just let us know.
Yeah, how what you think about this situation, what you think Wanja should have done, although, I mean, we can't be the ones to throw stones here.
Yeah, we cannot do that.
We can't really be one to judge.
We shouldn't judge.
We can't judge in this case.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye-bye.